Alrighty. Well, welcome to Team Bible Study today. I'd like to welcome you all here in the longest, shortest month of the year, February. That's right. It's true. It is. So we've been talking about foundational truths for ambassadorship. This is a topic and a title that Mark's been going over with you guys. So what's the first thing that we addressed? Foundational truths for ambassadorship. I know you have notes because he gave them to you. So he took the notes for you. What was number one? Or you know what, we don't even have to get the right order. What's one of the things that we've done as a foundational truth for ambassadorship? Talk louder. Nobody ever tells me to talk louder. Okay. What is number one? What is something we've done? Prayer. Okay, so we talked about prayer. Prayer is number two.
Personal holiness.
Personal holiness. What would we say the Bible word for personal holiness would be classified as? Sanctification. All right. What was the other one? We had one more, right? Man, he even got the title right and everything. How to get the most out of your Bible, right? So those are three. So this is number four. So number four, we're going to go over stewardship. So stewardship, what would you say if you were to think of the word stewardship, what would be the first thing that comes to your mind? Money, okay? So a lot of times people think about money, right? Because that is really, when you categorize the word stewardship, that's what you're thinking of. Okay, we're going to talk about finances. We're going to talk about money management. And it really is the case. And so that's one thing. When we were coming up with the topics to address, Mark gave like a quick outline that I like, and I think this is his stewardship outline. And he said, your time, your talents, and your treasures, right? So I'm gonna carry that into this because I think it's a good outline. But we're going to start 2 Corinthians chapter 8. 2 Corinthians chapter 8. So stewardship is, really when we use the word stewardship, we're talking about money. You know, that's what we want to talk about. And a lot of times churches will do a stewardship series come like November because they're like, okay, we're going to be thankful, right? Coming near the holidays. But stewardship, to classify stewardship, to start here. 2 Corinthians chapter 8. Verse 5, now this passage in the next chapter, we'll look at this a little bit tonight, are very, very, they have a high emphasis on giving. So really, when you're talking about stewardship, and you're talking about money, you know, these are good passages to look to, right? Because they do have a high emphasis on giving finances to help people that need. You're taking my spot. That's my spot. He has become me. Because it's way better, because I don't have to sit by you. Anyways, okay, so you take that. But if you look at, where does it start? Where does stewardship start? If you're going to give finances, where does that start? Okay, so 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 5, it says this right here. It says, and this they did, not as we hoped, but first gave their own selves to the Lord, and unto us by the will of God. So first they gave their own selves to the Lord, right? So if you're going to be a profitable and a proper steward of your finances, or of anything, you must first give your entire self to the Lord, right? God's not going to take your money, and you're not going to give him your money if you don't give him your heart. It's not going to happen, right? So you first give your whole self. So that's why we really take stewardship, and you know, we focus on the finance, we focus on the money, and then we broaden it and understand that being a steward, you're a steward of more. You're given more in this life than just cash, right? You know, like you guys maybe not have a job yet. You're like, well, good, because I have no money. So, right? So if this is all there is, this is pointless. Okay? So stewardship. So the Webster's 1828 dictionary definition, copied and pasted, plagiarism, I like it, directly from it. It says, a man employed in great families to manage the domestic concerns, superintend the other servants, collect the rents or income, keep the accounts, etc. So look at Genesis chapter 15. This is a Bible example of a steward, right? Genesis chapter 15. In verse 2 it says, and Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus, right? So he's saying, what will you give me? The steward, the person that's watching over my house, is this guy right here. Because Abram, he was a good stature. He was a big name, right? Top of his class. turn to Genesis chapter 43 as well to get another, just a simple Bible definition to understand the broad spectrum of what a steward truly is and what they really, their role and responsibility is. So Genesis chapter 43 and verse 19, it kind of gives the same example, and it says, "And they came near to the steward of Joseph's house, and they communed with him at the door of the house." So we could study on this all night, but that's not the premise of the message or the lesson. But a steward is somebody who, in the Bible, is overseeing somebody else's stuff, right? Like you have this really, really, wealthy, maybe a wealthy person, and they've left this guy that they trust in charge of that, right? So if we're stewards, God's left us in charge, right? God has left us in charge of these certain things that he's left us in charge of that we have to be managing properly. And we have to be profitable and good stewards of those things. So Mark said, and I like that, our time, our talents, our treasures, right? There's the good old Bible college outline for you. And then, but I like to add on to that the truth, right? The truth. If you're going to be stewards of all that, then it carries into being a steward of the truth. Turn to 1 Corinthians chapter number 4, right? Because, what's the point of being a steward of all that if you do it for nothing, right? Then you're not actually a good steward. You can be like, oh, well, I manage my finances well. There's a lot of very wealthy, wicked people, right? There's a lot of very motivated, wicked people. There's a lot of very talented, wicked people, right? If they can do all this stuff that are all practical things, but if they do it for nothing, it's all in vain, right? It's all in vain. So 1 Corinthians chapter 4, and verse 1. 1 Corinthians 4:1, right? Because if we're to be a steward of all this, let a man so account of us as of the ministers of God and stewards of the mysteries of God, right? So Paul clearly states that we are stewards of the mysteries that God has given to us. So the truth that God has dispensed to the church, we are now stewards of that truth, right? So we can manage our money well, which is what we're going to talk about, but we can also be very, very poor with the truth, right? And so what's the point? What's the point? We're stewards of truth. Paul even takes this, he shows this again. 1 Timothy chapter 1. 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 11. He says, according to the glorious gospel of the blessed God, which was committed to my trust. Which was committed to my trust, right? If I am very wealthy, which I am, as you all know, and I have a lot of servants, which I do, in my very big house that you guys have never seen but is 100% real, right? If I were to leave that house and go on a journey, and, because we still take journeys in today's age, and I were to go on this journey, and I were to leave the steward in charge of the house, right? I'm putting him in trust. I'm entrusting him with my house, right? I've entrusted him, right? Evan is going to be staying at my house. I've entrusted him with my cat, right? My prized possession. I've entrusted him, right? Because he's going to be a steward. If my cat dies, he's a poor steward, right? And a terrible person, right? Right? But to be a steward, right? So if we're to be a steward of all these things and the truth, we're to be a steward. We're to be trusted with that. So when I consider stewardship, and that's, this is odd, me filling in like a lesson. I've never done this before. I've never been given a topic that you can kind of choose one of these 4 topics and teach on that. Normally I like to stick to my guns where I'm confident at, right? Because nobody wants to get up and be out of their comfort zone. So I had to put in the work and go, okay, well, this is something I haven't really talked in front of people about. So I had to put in the study, try to make it a valid lesson, kind of try to fit the format, so this is different. And when I look at stewardship, I think of 3 ments with a hyphen, M-E-N-T-S, right? The word's going to end with ment. It's like a Jeopardy category, okay? You got to follow this, okay? Ment. So when I think of stewardship, I think of management, investment, and commitment, okay? Those 3, when I think of a steward, those 3, management, investment, commitment, okay? You have to have all 3 of those. Management, to me, management, and the way I study and understand a steward and the world we see today, to me, I think management and manager is almost an interchangeable word as steward, right? What we see today, if you have a general manager of a store, right, they are left in charge of a store, of a restaurant that somebody owns. They are left in charge of that to make it, they almost fill that role today of what a steward would do in the Bible, in a sense, right? Now you can find some variances, but I think that management is a word that we can really, categorize with stewardship. Management, right? You're supposed to be good management. I study general management. I am in management. I've been in management. I like being in management because I like telling people what to do. Genuinely, I do not like being told what to do, so I like to be in a position that I get to tell them what to do. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. That's what I enjoy. Some people don't like it, right? But management. Management, you have to be in charge of something and make decisions. You have to make decisions that change the course of something. You have to make fast decisions. You have to make long-winded decisions. There's all kinds of different decisions that you have to make, and they come about, right? But you have to properly manage these decisions that come your way. If you're to be a good steward of God, you have to be a good manager. You have to be a good manager. And if we're going to take these three things, and then the truth we'll hit at the end, but time, right? Time management. I think that I can say, as I was a teenager, and as I look at a bunch of teenagers, that may be something that we can work on, we can improve on. Because I know that I did not manage my time properly at all. I was lazy as could be. My time management skills were lacking. But time management, manage your time properly to be a good steward of the time you're given. Because, truthfully, there are people that have not even been given as much time as you've been given. There are people that even make it to the age that you have made it to, right? So manage your time, properly manage your time. Paul says this in Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5, and then we'll look at Colossians chapter 4 as well, which is we've been studying in Sunday school. But Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 16, he says, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Redeeming the time. Making the most of your time. Being a proper steward of your time. You are given a certain amount of time. Make the most of it. Redeem it. Use it wisely. Manage it properly. Colossians chapter 4 as well is what we've been talking about this in Sunday school, how to communicate with lost people, how to engage with lost people. But in verse 5 it says, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. Right? There's time in your day, and maybe you have more time now, and we started with how to get the most out of your Bible, right? And then we went to prayer, and then we went to personal holiness. None of that's going to come if you don't have good time management. It won't happen. You can sit on your phone, and you can, okay, I'm going to read my Bible, and then you start getting on Facebook, scrolling, and, doing this, doing that, and you don't get to it because you didn't manage your time. You didn't cut out time and go, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. You didn't properly manage your time. We're going to go to Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 13. This is my least favorite verse in the Bible. Proverbs chapter 20. Most people are like, this is my favorite verse in the Bible. This is my least favorite verse in the Bible. And it will most likely soon be yours as well. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 13. It says, love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. Love not sleep, right? That's my least favorite verse in the Bible. Now, it's not saying that if you enjoy resting, you can make a joke about it. It's not saying if you enjoy resting, you need sleep to survive. But it's saying that if you just waste your time, if you sleep your life away, if you're slothful, you will not be profitable, and it will come to your demise. It will be your downfall. If you are not properly managing your time and being a good steward of the time that God has given you, it will be your downfall. It will be your defeat. So time management. I challenge you to do a study on the word slothful. Just study the word slothful. If you're like, okay, I don't know where to read my Bible, well, look up the word slothful. Just study it. Just study it and see what you get out of it, and ask yourself, after you get done studying slothful, look at that and be like, okay, am I slothful? Is that me? And then you can go from there. You can move on from there. But to manage your time, right? You have to manage your time. Manage your money. That's where stewardship is, right? That's what we talk about. Manage your money. You have got to learn to manage your money. First Timothy chapter 6 says this is a go-to verse anytime you talk about money, but I mean, it's easy. I mean, it just speaks of itself. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10, it says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." The love of money, right? So, I see a lot of people on a daily basis that do not know how to manage their money. That is my job. I am employed because I help people manage their money, and not necessarily in more of a physical way. They come get their money, they come put their money away, they come get it, right? But I see some people that are they call me on a daily basis asking if they spent this. I'm like, dude, you have the receipts, you spent your money. But because they are so bad at managing their money, the amount of hours I've spent in people's bank ledgers trying to fix their bank account because they lost it along the way, and they don't know why their money is this and out of whack because they can't properly manage their money. The amount of sorrow that has brought me, the amount of sorrow that it brings many people, right? Couples, when they get married, one of the key things they fight about is money. That is one of the number one things that they fight about is money, because they don't know how to manage their money. Now Mark talks about money a lot, but I'd say number one, right? Budget. That fixes it right there. If you budget your money, okay? Now, I like to utilize the app Dave Ramsey has, Every Dollar. That's my go-to. You can budget it whatever way you do it. But essentially, a budget is to ensure that there is less money going out than there is coming in. That's the goal, right? Because if there's less money going out than there is coming in, you have money left over. Now, also, look at this, okay? If you look at your bank account and say you have $70 left in your bank account, that does not mean you have $70 to go spend on something. Because maybe tomorrow your $70 internet bill is going to clear, and you forgot that it didn't clear. And you spent that $70, and now your bank is overdrafted, okay? Do not budget based on what's sitting in your bank account. Because don't be like, okay, well, I'm budgeting. Don't just do it on the fly. Because if you do it on the fly, it leaves. It goes way faster. Because I've done it. There's times I've been lazy, didn't manage my time properly, so I don't manage my money properly. It all starts somewhere, right? And you don't manage your money, okay? If you are at the bank and, I'm a steward of the vault. I'm in charge of the vault at the bank. I'm in charge of making sure that every dollar in that bank stays there. And I know where it's going. I know where it came from. If there's a dollar too much or if there's a dollar too little, I have to figure out why, who, what, right? That is my job. I am a steward of that. So if you're a steward of your own finances, you should know where every dollar is going, how it's being spent. Truthfully, if you are earning your money, you should want to know where every dollar is going. If you are working for that money, you should want to know how it's being spent, okay? I read a statistic that the average American household has $17,000 in credit card debt. 17 grand. Now, that's people who want more than they can afford, so they buy things on credit, and then they can't pay for it, okay? Manage your money properly. Do not spend more than you have. Do not spend more than you have, okay? Another thing, this is a hot take among a lot of financial people. Build credit. Find a way to build credit in a profitable, risk-free way. There are ways to do it, okay? A lot of people will say, no, you don't need credit. Me, starting out, getting married when I was 19 years old, right? I knew that there is times and places that I would have saved a lot of money if I had proper credit, and then instead, I had to spend more money up front, or I had to spend more money through, alternative, maybe I couldn't go to this provider. I had to go here because my credit wasn't good here. They didn't care, so they're going to charge me more because I'm a liability, right? There are ways to do it, but do not get a credit card unless you have proved that you have the discipline to manage your money. That's a rule of thumb. If you cannot manage your own money, you don't need to be managing whatever money that you can get on a credit line. Because then suddenly you're going to be drowning in debt, tons of interest, and nobody's going to want to be your friend, right? Just kidding. People will probably still want to be your friend. But the first two are true. Okay? So manage your money. Properly manage your money. Look at if you want to manage your money, budget, like I said, Save your money. Save it. Just put it away. Okay? If you put it away, you can save it for something nice. You can save it for a nice car. You can save it for that nice car when it breaks. You can save it for a down payment on a house. You can save it for many things, right? You can put it away, right? I love saving. I love saving money. I used to think I was a spender. I'm a saver. I'm like, oh, we have 47 cents left over. It's going into savings, right? I like to save, but save your money. Some of you kids in here are probably way better at this than I am. Some kids, I had people bring in their kids' piggy banks, man, and they'll have $1,000 in quarters. And I'm like, dude, they'll be like, yep, they just kept saving and kept saving this. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I wish that I had $1,000 in quarters, but I don't, right? But save your money. And then, give your money. Find a way to give. Find a place to give. That's a good thing. And you're like, well, you just told me to save it. How can I save it? And how can I give it? That's a good question. And I tried to figure that out myself. But, people say you can't outgive God. And I sit there, I'm like, okay, that's great, but we're in the dispensation of the grace of God. I'm supposed to work, and how am I supposed to properly take care of my family and properly support missionary? And a lot of times people talk about money, and it's a lot of guilt trip. It just is. In a lot of inner Baptist circles, it's a lot of guilt trip. We don't get that a lot here. We really don't. But a lot of places you go, they basically just, they want to guilt you into giving, right? And is that really giving? I don't think that's the biblical way of giving if you're guilted into doing it. I know it's not. But, I'm sitting there as a young, newlywed trying, okay, well, I want to give, but I don't want to miss out on this mission. But, my car's broken down again, and I can't pay to fix it, right? So that's between you and God. What you give and when you give, that's between you and God. You can ask for advice. You can ask for guidance. I don't know your budget. I don't know your time. I had someone say when I was in the youth group that I wasn't right with God if I wasn't giving money. I didn't have $1 to my name. I did not have $1 to my name, right? And they're like, you're not right with God if you're not giving any money. I know you have money. And I'm like, I don't have $1 to my name, man. I got nothing, right? So I'm not going to tell you guys, okay, if you're not giving money away right now. But I will say that you can't outgive God, right? And this isn't how it always works, but there's times that I give money and then it just instantly comes back to me twice. That's not, like I said, don't quote me on that. Don't be taking it and being like, well, the ROI on this check is going to be great because God is good, right? No, that's not how it always works. But God blesses you. God takes care of you. But I will say that there's times that I've just been blown away where I'm like, I'm going to give this. I'm just going to be generous. I want to be generous. I've been trying to be more generous. That's something I've been trying to work on in my own life, and I've tried to give. And then God just gives it back, in just different ways through different people, and he allows other people to give. So you give to provide here, and this person gives a smaller amount here. Maybe you give a larger amount, and they make up the difference, right? But give. Find a way to give. Find a small way to give, right? To help other people, to be a part of that, be a part of something bigger. But invest. Invest your money. This one really, I'd say applies to your talents and your treasures. Investment, right? So you've got management. You have to learn to manage your time. If you're to be a good steward, you have to manage your time. You have to know how much time you have. Right? And that's I can tell you right now, that is one of my weakest points. It is so easy for me to sit down and not get back up. I'm okay, I'm just going to sit down. And lately, I've been so tired. I've been napping wildly. I've been sleeping way too much. Honestly. Because it's just it's so easy to just let time slip away. And then you're like, what happened? What happened? Time is just gone, right? But to invest, talents. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. I know it sounds like a cat poster, right? Invest in yourself. But genuinely, nobody else is going to be able to make money for you. Nobody else is going to be able to make friends for you. Nobody else is going to be able to make anything for you except for yourself. Invest in yourself. You are your greatest tool in this world, And yes, you can be all spiritual and be like, no, the word of the God. You know what I mean, right? Invest in yourself. You are key to your success. Don't think you're, everybody in this world that we have just low self-esteem, everybody's like, I'm the key to my failure. Yeah, and you're also the key to your success. It's up to you. The key's in your hands, right? Invest in yourself, right? So invest in your education. I'd say invest in your education. I think that is a profitable thing to do. Now, when I say education, that does not necessarily mean college. That does not necessarily mean trade school, both of which are profitable, and I do recommend. But read some books. Educate yourself outside of something. Read a book. Pick up a book and turn off the TV and read a book about how to get along with people. Genuinely, that's the book I'm reading right now, Resolving Everyday Conflict, how to get along with people you cannot stand. Read a book on how to manage yourself. Read a book on time management. Read a book on finance. Read a book on this. Read a book on that, right? Everybody's like, well, I don't know anything. Well, read about it. Learn it, Don't expect to just know it. It's not going to just come to you. But invest in your education. Go to college. If you want to go to college, I said this in the other night at the all-nighter that, it used to be people that went to college made people that go to trade school feel bad. They used to be like, oh, no, you didn't go to college. You don't go to college. And the trade school people are like, well, I went to trade school. Somebody's got to do their job. Great job. And it's almost like the circles I see, the pendulum's flipped where the people that go to trade school belittle the people that go to college. Like, it doesn't matter. If you want to go to trade school, and I'm not saying everybody that goes to trade school belittles people that go to college. That's not the point. I'm saying, if you want to go to trade school and you want to invest in being in a trade, go to trade school. Don't go get a business education because you're not going to want to be there and you're probably just going to waste money and then you're going to go to trade school anyways, right? But if you aren't handy like me, I am not handy, I am too clumsy, and I get too distracted. I just get bored. Like, I do not have the longevity to finish a project, right? But I like people. Go to business school, learn management, but invest in yourself, invest in your education. I think my wife would be saying amen to that because she has been, working in the healthcare field for a long time and, she's unable to move because she doesn't have a piece of paper that says she knows all the stuff that she knows, right? That piece of paper, oh yeah, I'm spending this much money for a piece of paper. Yeah, you are, but people look at that. They do. It is important. Invest in your education. 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show thyself approved, right? You have to study. Study. Put your, and study the Word of God, but study. Be a student. Work towards it. Invest in yourself. Look at Colossians 1. Colossians chapter 1, verse 9. For this cause we also, since the day we heard it, do not cease to pray for you and to desire that ye might be filled with the knowledge of his will and all wisdom, spiritual understanding. Invest in yourself. Become filled with knowledge and spiritual understanding. You may be like, well, I don't have the time. I don't want to do this. I've seen you guys when you play sports. I've seen how much you get into it. When you play video games, you want to be the best. You want to be number one, right? And then till that's hit the curb, right? Well, I'm going to be the best. I can dunk now. I'm going to be so good. And then you graduate high school and you never play basketball again, right? Most of your careers, that's it. That's game over. And you spent your time, and I'm not saying that's a bad investment. That's great. But I know that you have it in you to invest in something and become the best at it that you can be. I know you're capable of it, right? I know you can do it. So invest in yourself. It's important. Invest in your physical health. Put some time. Put 2 days a week and go to the gym. Do something, right? Do something. Maybe eat a salad occasionally, right? Occasionally. Not too many, because then you don't want to be a monster, right? But invest in your physical health. That is important. A lot of Baptist preachers, right? A lot of Baptists and a lot of Christians, they like to eat. I love to eat. I love food. It's amazing. But they waste their time because they don't invest in their physical health, and they end up, being short in life because they're like, well, God's appointed me to die. And he's like, well, you maybe appointed you 10 more years if you'd stop eating that pecan pie, bro. Right? Invest in your physical health, right? Like I said, you don't have to be an athlete, but do something, Do something here and there to maybe make yourself a little bit healthier. A little bit, right? And then invest in people. Invest yourself into people. That is priceless. Investing in people. There are people's lives that you may touch that you're never going to see. Teen ministry, you're planting seeds that you're never going to hardly ever see grow, ever. That's the goal. You're planting seeds. Maybe you'll see one bloom here. Maybe you'll see one blossom there. Maybe they'll just go off and serve the Lord somewhere else and you really don't get to see them. But you're planting, you're investing. You're investing in people. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, Paul says, and I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ. I have fed you with milk, and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. For ye are yet carnal. For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men? For while one saith, I am of Paul, and another, I am of Apollos. Who then is Paul, and who is Apollos, but ministers by whom ye believed, even as the Lord gave to every man? I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase, right? God gave the increase. You're just investing. Invest in people's lives. Build relationships. Get along with people. Just get along with people. The people that you hate right now, if everybody held the teenage grudges against me, I would have nobody, except Tristan. We got you, you know. But I would have nobody. But invest in people. Get along with people. Invest in lost people's lives. Do something small. Use your talents in your life to invest in others. To invest in other people. That's your talent. Invest your money. Figure out a way to invest your money. And like I said, this may be far beyond your future, but invest your money, okay? Because you work for your money. You spend your life working for your money, and when you learn to invest it, your money works for you. Your money works for you. You work for it. It works for you, right? That's how it goes. Now, I would say the majority of millionaires today, they make their money, and they made their money by maxing out every year their company-sponsored 401k plan. If you get a job that has a 401k plan, and you look at it, and they have a company match, say 5%. Say they have, to the dollar, 5%. Jump on it. Say you don't even have to have an eligibility. Be like, man, that's $50 a pay. Well, you forget about that $50 a pay when you're looking at your 401k statement a year from the road, and it's that $50 a pay is now like $5,000 because they're giving you free money. They are just handing it to you because you're matching it. Okay, jump on that. But then if maybe they don't offer that, Roth IRAs. Brother Mark talks about them all the time. It's ways to evade taxes, which we as Americans love, right? Right? Okay? But there are different investment options. There are different people that are experts, right? There are also people that are going to rip you off, okay? So when you're if you're going to invest your money, if you're going to put your money somewhere where it makes money for you, find trustworthy sources, people you can trust, and figure out good opportunities. But I would say if your job, one thing I see, one flaw I see that a lot of people do is they start a job and they can just have deductions, pre-tax deductions go into a 401k investment plan that they're getting just money given to them by their employer, right? Way to stick it to the man. They're just giving you money. And you have them give that money, and then that money makes money, and you don't even know that money's there. And then suddenly you look and you just have money that you didn't even know was there, right? And then you can retire, right? Because we all want to do that. If you don't do that, if you don't jump on that, you'll never retire. You'll never make money, right? You're not going to make, most of us in here, now some of you are, maybe, I hope you remember me. Most of us in here are not going to make it rich. Not going to strike it rich. Maybe some of us will, right? Riley's an electrical engineer. He talks about how much money he's going to make, right? He's going to be loaded. He's buying me a house. He doesn't know it yet, though, right? Okay? But most millionaires in this nation do not become rich by their salary, right? Some will make, but most of them do not make six figures. They invest their money. They're smart with their money. They manage their money. And their money makes their money for them, right? The money that they make, that salary, they put that away. And then they can retire maybe when they're 50, maybe when they're 55. Maybe they make so much money and then they have so much money in an investment account and then they retire and then they get bored and so they go back and make more money. Which blows my mind. I can't imagine that, but some people do that. Okay? So investment, I'm not somebody, I'm 22 years old. I'm not an investment expert yet, right? But because I really haven't been in the investment game that long. But I do know that I've watched my investment continue to rise because money that's just, I don't even know is there. It's just gone. And then suddenly, wow, this money has doubled and tripled. And it'll go down, and it'll go up, it'll go down. It hasn't taken a hit yet, but that's because there hasn't been enough in there, right? Right, but invest your money. Invest in people, invest your money. And then lastly, commitment. If you're going to be a steward, it takes commitment. You have got to be committed, right? Because it takes management, it takes investment, and it takes commitment. I mean, Paul makes it very clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 4. 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2, he says, moreover, it is required, right? If you apply for a job and they say it's required for you to have a bachelor's degree, if you don't have a bachelor's degree, you can apply, but they'll be like, sorry, it's required for you to have a bachelor's degree. It is a necessity. You are not equipped, you are not qualified if it is not this, okay? It is required that a man be found faithful. It is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. That is a requirement. That is not a suggestion. Know the difference, because there are suggestions in the Bible that Paul promotes that is profitable. He's not saying this is what you have to do and you're sinning if you don't. He's saying you're glorifying God if you do, right? And giving is one of those things. If you study it out, you give God glory, you help the brethren, right? But this is not one of those open suggestion things. This is something that he's saying, hey, it's required that you're faithful. That is a must, okay? So if you're going to be a steward, if you're a steward of somebody's house, right, and they come home and you're just not there, you are not faithful to that house. You are not a profitable steward. You are not a good steward. They say it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit, right? They say that after that 66th day, you know, it said some of it can take like 18 days, some of it can take like 180, but 66 days, that's when it becomes natural. That's like the behavior. Like, okay, this is just easy for me now. 66 days, right? If you quit on the 65th day, you weren't faithful. You were not a good steward because you quit and you were not committed to that 66th day to form that new habit. You have got to be committed, because any of this, Rome was not built in a day, right? Rome was not built in a day. The great empire that we see, which is very wicked, by the way, very sinful empire, it is, was not built in a day. It took time. It took planning. It took leadership. It took management. It took investment. It took commitment. Be committed to taking your time, making your time important, right? If you go, I'm going to take 30 minutes a day to read my Bible, stick to that. Because the first day you'll do it. The second day you'll get bored and you'll do 15. And the third day you'll be like, I can take today off, right? When you go to the gym, the first day you do it, the second day you do it, the third day there's too many people, and then you're not doing it anymore, right? You're not committed. Don't point at me. I ate too much biscuits, man, right? You have got to be committed. Commit yourself to doing something. Like I said, I know that you guys in here can do it. I've seen you commit yourself to something. You have the in you. Be committed to making your time important. Be committed to saving money. If you're going to save money, commit yourself to doing it. You know the easiest way to save money? Does anybody have any idea what the easiest way to save money is? Don't spend it. That is the easiest way to save. Man, you can write that down. You heard it here first. Do not spend your money. That is, if you go, I'm going to save some money. I want to have this much money saved. And then you spend it, you are not committed to saving money. One thing I say to save money, open a savings account, put it in there, and almost make it bad to touch it. Like, not in a, like, oh, I'm a terrible person, but I hate moving money out of my savings account. Because most of the time I move it out of my savings account, it's because something's broken and I have to fix it, right? It's because, oh, car's broken again, you got to move it out, right? And once that money's there, it's like untouchable. It's there. It's like, okay, this is sacred money. Keep it there, right? And obviously, I'm toying with you a little bit, but be committed to that. Set goals. Set yourself a goal. One thing that I do, if I'm committed to something, and I'm okay, when we have this much money in savings, we'll buy this, right? You need little rewards. Your mind will go crazy. You will go crazy. You'll be rich, but you'll be crazy, right? It's true. It's true. But be committed. Be committed to bettering yourself. Be committed to bettering yourself. I'll tell you this funny story, and Tristan's seen it in action. When I was in the spring, when I wanted to get in shape, okay, what I would do down the last stretch is I would grab, and normally you run like this, right? This is how you run, only a little bit faster than this. I would grab my stomach in the last bit and be like, this has got to go. I was committed, and every day I'd be like tired, and I'd be like, nope. And you feel it, and you'd be like, okay, I'm committed to getting rid of this little friend right here, right? Then I made a goal to better myself. My goal was when quarantine was up and people saw me again, I would look in better shape. I was like, okay, this is my only chance that I can't go out to eat and I can't spend time with my friends and I have reduced hours at work. If I'm not going to do it now, it's never going to happen, right? Be committed to it, okay? If you want to, like some people are like, I want to read a book a week, or I want to learn to dunk, right? Some people can actually learn to dunk, Hunter. I can't. I wanted that, but I cannot do it. I couldn't. All right, but be committed. Set goals. If you're going to be committed to bettering yourself, it's going to start with setting a goal. Set a goal and achieve that. And then be committed to the truth. right? If you were to be a steward of your talents, a steward of your time, a steward of your treasures, and to be a steward of the truth, be committed. When I got married, the song that we sang that my wife really wanted sang, not we sang, thank the Lord, but a song that was sang at my wedding that my wife really wanted to sing, sang, thank the Lord, just kidding, was, it's so those who come behind us find us faithful, right? The people that are walking the path that you've walked, see that you're still walking the path. See that you're committed to that. The truth that has been given to you, stay committed to it. Be committed to it, because that will make all this easy. I'm going to be just genuinely honest with you. I was thinking about it today. I was thinking, and I mean, I don't know if it was like carnality or spirituality. Like, I genuinely am not sure which. Probably a bit of both, right? And I was thinking about what my life would look like if I just closed this book and just walked away. My life. I wasn't thinking about anybody else's life, because when we make decisions that poorly affect other people, we're only thinking about ourselves, right? But I was thinking about exactly what it would look like if I just walked away. And I was thinking about, okay, this is where I'd be. And this is where I'd be. This is where I'd be. This is where I'd be. If I did not stay committed to this right here. Okay? So it is required in stewards. If you are to be a profitable steward, you can take all of that. You can be like, man, I invest my money so well. But if you're not committed to it, if you're not committed to the truth, if you're not committed, then nothing will drive you. Nothing will get you out of bed in the morning. It'll all be pointless. And it will all be pointless. All right, that is a wrap. So we're going to pray, and you are dismissed. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, we thank the time you've given us. We pray that we can be good stewards. I pray that you can just continue to help us as we go through these foundational truths of ambassadorship, Lord. I pray that we can see stewardship as a pillar of those truths, to know that it is in almost every one of those aspects and the things that we see. Lord, I pray that you can just keep us safe, just give us joy through the month of February, Lord. It can be a dark and depressing month with winter, with cold, with school. Lord, I pray that you can just